So there was this interview that this woman named Liza Lynn did. I would say it was 3 or 4 years ago. She wrote a book or co-authored a book about the surveillance state of China, and it was called and she praises it, but she's like one of these progressive crazy people, in my opinion. But the name of it is Inside China's Quest to Launch a New Era of Social Control. And basically, it's about China's alternative to democracy. She said China is probably the only country out there that hopes to use surveillance to create this techno-utopian state. That doesn't sound like China. That sounds like Silicon Valley talk. And then she goes on to talk about how much Silicon Valley, they have to thank Silicon Valley for all this. See, Silicon Valley helped create China's tech startups, and then they got equity firms and venture capitalists to back them. So they've been keeping the people. I mean, AI is really the government in China. The people, I mean, yeah, Xi Jinping's put up there, but he's just put up there. That's probably why they said, yeah, just, name yourself as, leader for a lifetime, because it's not going to make AI run, because everything they do is through their phone. So they're tracked the minute they're out of their house. Nobody in that country is not tracked. Everybody has a box around them in their car. And so, they know everything about them, but then because they don't really use any kind of cash or credit, they use their phones because the government, AI, controls it. Silicon Valley. They do, and that's what they're trying to bring in here. So she said, and then she tries to make this argument about, well, the difference between all of America's cameras and China is 400 million Americans own their, doorbell cameras or whatever cameras they have. It's like, yeah, but tech still has access to that. It's just easier because they didn't have to pay for all those cameras. They got you to pay for it, and they tap into it all the time. They do. If people don't realize that, then maybe you're not going to wake up at all. And then she says here, if you think about Silicon Valley's involvement, it's huge. And not just in components. If you think about the financial aspect of things, a lot of the U.S. private equity companies and venture capital companies were the first companies to give Chinese surveillance startups a leg in the game by funding them. And then her argument is that we have to get the U.S. on board with this. Yeah, so Liza Lynn, that isn't going to happen. Hopefully we're going to go in the other direction. I believe we are, even though I know everybody says, well, Trump's all in with the tech giants. No, he's not. He's not. He's not. He's playing, Trump plays a game that a lot of us don't understand sometimes. So, yeah, no, he's not in with them. But I'll get into that in a different video. Anyway, but she says that the U.S. has been the hardest to get on board because the U.S. people are taught not to trust their government. Yeah, it's in our DNA. God made it that way. And it's in our DNA not to trust tech, especially after the last 10, 12, 15 years. So she says Silicon Valley has been huge in changing that. But Silicon Valley is totally behind them is China being in a surveillance state. And the way she presents it is just like Mao wanted to make everybody in his country happy. And I don't believe that for a minute. Mao was nothing but a dictator who was only about serving himself. But she, of course, is a progressive, and they believe in that, we can have a utopian dream bullshit. And you can, but you can't have it with morally bankrupt people. And I mean, literally morally. I mean, it's one thing to be, you're not so moral, but you have a little bit there that tech has no morals. Okay. They took all of China into a police state. Sorry, morally bankrupt, no soul. So she says that the way that the surveillance state of China today will advance where Mao couldn't is because AI can gather all this data. It has so much information on every single person in China. And so she says when the government knows everything about everyone, then it can model, AI can model the perfect government so that everyone is happy. So just nuts. She also talked about that it makes no difference, like when America blacklists a Chinese telecom company, like Trump in his first term had blacklisted 7 of them. And I guess she had said that Biden did too. But she said it doesn't make any difference because people will still do business because they have subsidiaries. So they may blacklist, let's say, for example, ByteDance in Hong Kong, but then they'll do the business with ByteDance of Cayman Islands. So she says there's always a way around it. That's what makes the Constitution impossible. I mean, it's not the Constitution that's impossible. It's those morally bankrupt people. And they head up our biggest industries, as I always say, healthcare, education, and then they have colluded with the evilness of the Silicon Valley tech, morally bankrupt, soulless people. It's true. I mean, I think it really shows your character when you still do business with a company that a president, that a country's blacklisted because of national security risks, and yet you're a hospital that's still going to do business with that company. It just shows that you're a trashy man. I don't even want to say you're a man. But Jeff Bezos sold all those blacklisted cameras, but I don't see him as a man either. Just good bullshitters. So she says that it was, she talks about how involved during COVID, people, but this goes for us too. They always know where you're at. And it's not just through your phone. Like, it freaks me out sometimes, like I'm in the middle of a long drive home. And so I make plenty of stops, but all of a sudden I'll have either come up on my car or sometimes it'll just be on my phone. Warning, there's something in the middle of the road. And it's like I don't see it, and then, there it is, a little bit down the road. And it's like, so that's, or my car will do that. It'll say there's an emergency vehicle that's going to be coming your way. I mean, that's how much, it's just, you may think, oh, the technology's so great. No, it's not. They know way too much. They've gotten, and she uses the same damn bullshit line that tech uses. It's about innovation. And then she goes as far as to say, that tech changed the playing field so that America got more on board with everything because they introduced it in the way of, it's about the free flowing of ideas, which leads to innovation. Tech does not have innovation. Do they create some things every now and then? Yeah, tyrannical things. Think about it. Think about all the things you have that are technology based, and tell me that it's not somehow a way to control you. Everything they create, it's not innovation because they take us backwards. While they tell you they're taking, and plus them, they don't allow the free flow of ideas because they know if they did, well, there's a lot of people like me and many others that have way better ideas than they do. They know that. That's why they don't want free speech. Because they know they don't have any ideas. That's why they, worship their AI God. And so they're not about innovation. And they're definitely not about the free flow information of ideas. No, they do not want you to have happiness. They do not want you to have creativeness because they don't, and they're miserable, and they've realized that their money doesn't make them happy. It only has subdued them for a little while. So they're tyrannical dictators, and Silicon Valley controls China.